Good morning, everybody. We got some Mariners news hitting this hot stove today, and this is significant. This is pretty big. Got to make a video about this one. Just because I'm a Seahawks channel doesn't mean I'm going to ignore when the Mariners make a potentially franchise altering decision. We made a trade. I spent a bunch of time last week talking about some of the free agency signings the Mariners could make. But I didn't talk too much about trades, and there were definitely intriguing options on the trade market for the Mariners to patch their holes, and they have now gone and done that. The Seattle Mariners, per multiple sources, earlier this morning sent reliever Erik Swanson and single A left handed pitching prospect Adam Macko to the Toronto Blue Jays in exchange for Teoscar Hernandez. And this addresses a clear need on this team going into 2023. This patches a relatively clear and obvious hole that we had in our outfield, in our lineup. And this trade, I mean, look, I'm not here to say anything negative about Erik Swanson as a player. He obviously had one good year and one extraordinary year for us in the last two. But this is an excellent trade in my book. We gave up a single A prospect who really struggled last year. I believe he was averaging close to a walk an inning in single A baseball. And you have gotten one of the better hitters in Major League Baseball for it. So, right off the bat, let me just say this. I think this trade is an A plus slam dunk home run touchdown. It is everything positive that I can say about a trade. I'm not saying Swanson won't be missed, but we know this regime has shown the ability to piece together high quality bullpens without having the greatest players, without spending the most money. They've been able to trade guys like Edwin Diaz and barely miss a beat. So they are leaning into one of their strengths. They are leaning into one of the abilities that they've shown to have in recent years. And they are acquiring an elite batter for just really because the prospect is kind of nothing right now. A really good reliever. All right. This is the kind of stuff that makes me believe 2023 could be a special season. So, Teoscar Hernandez, he just turned 30. So, he's approximately in his prime, maybe going to start exiting it in the next year or two. But we are talking about one of the better hitters in the league over the last 3 to 4 years. Let's take a look here. Ever since 2020, he's been elite in Ops Plus, 146, 131, 127. So well above average as a hitter. He's hit for power the last 2 years at an elite clip. 32 home runs in 2021 and 25 in 2020. Outside of the Aaron Judges of the world, that's pretty solid. The 1 year where he didn't hit for a ton of power was the year he only played 50 games. So if you take a look at really the last 5 years, he's given you solid power. He's even given you a little bit of speed on the base paths these last couple years. He's got 30 30 stolen bases over the last 4 years. That's not nothing. He's given you a decent amount of extra base hit potential. He's given you good average over the last 3 years. He's hit in that approximate 280, 285 range combined. And if you take a look at his Savant page, this is one of the best hitters in the league. His exit velocity, elite. His hard hit percentage, elite. His XBA, elite. His X slugging, elite. His barrel rate, elite. He does strike out about once a game, maybe a little more on average. He doesn't draw the most walks, which obviously was something this team did last year that was in the positive area. He does swing and miss a decent amount. He will chase a little bit, but we are talking about a really fantastic hitter. He's not on the Aaron Judge level of hitters. He's not a Mike Trout, but maybe he's on that next tier. You take a look at what he's been able to piece together over the last 3 years in particular, just really elite level baseball when he's in the batter's box. Yes, he's going to chase sometimes. Yes, he's going to occasionally make you think of Eugenio Suarez, but he's going to be Suarez with a much higher batting average. He's going to be Suarez with a little more speed. And, like I said, as an outfielder, he does fill a need. He's been a fringe MVP guy in 2020 and 2021. He's been a Silver Slugger in 2020 and 2021. He made the All-Star game in 2021. So, yeah, we're talking about a guy who immediately becomes one of the best hitters on your team. Now, the outfield, I don't know. Obviously, he can play the outfield, so that's good. You take a look at his advanced fielding metrics. It's not great. Right field, where he played most of his games last year, he was a decent amount below average, -5 outs above average. He was actually a little better over the last 2 years in left field. He was actually a little above average, +2 compared to -7 total in right field. Much smaller sample size, but maybe there's the possibility that he ends up in left field instead of right field. I don't know exactly how we're going to play this. Obviously, if you take a look at this data collectively, you would say this is probably a below average outfielder in terms of his ability to play defense, but not atrocious either. Obviously, this is a concern. This is a reason why you might see us still look at bringing back Mitch Haniger, because Haniger, we can't really rely on him to be in the lineup for 150 games a year, but the dude can play pretty well in the outfield. The dude gives you a pretty good glove in the outfield. And we do have a handful of utility guys like Haggerty, like Kelnick, like Dylan Moore, who can play in the outfield in those must-have defensive situations, like late in games, late in close games. So if Teoscar Hernandez becomes like a super rich man's Jesse Winker, where he gives you hopefully a much better bat than Jesse Winker, but the point is he gives you his bat, and then you roll with a defensive replacement in the last inning or two in a close game, that's still doing pretty good for yourself. So defense, I don't know. It's not great. The metrics are not great. I've spoken to some Blue Jays fans who say he's okay defensively, but the numbers indicate that he might not be. He might be at least below average. Time will tell. Now, as for the money, Teoscar Hernandez is going to come into a significant contract extension soon. You're going to have to pay him a lot of money. You're talking probably $25 million a year, maybe even a little bit more by the time we get there. Hey, not my problem. That's for the team to figure out, and I'm cool with that. I'm good with that. It's not my money, and at the end of the day, baseball doesn't really have a salary cap. And if this team wants to catch a team like the Houston Astros that just won the World Series, they're going to have to spend money. So this strikes me as a huge win. This guy immediately slots in high on this lineup. He might be batting, he could bat second in the lineup. He could bat third or fourth. He's got enough power to do those things credibly. He's got a little bit of speed. It's a big win, I think. And now we can just focus on the middle infield. Now, I don't want to downplay Swanson. This guy just turned 29 a couple months ago, and he had a stellar season in 2022. One of the best relief pitchers in the game. ERA plus of 222, ERA of 168. He was dominant for most of the season. And he was good the previous year, too. He was well above average bullpen arm. However, it needs to be said that I think we all know he was due a little bit of a regression. He was too good in 2022. There is no way pretty much anybody in baseball can sustain that level of play over multiple years. There's just no way. His stuff is good, but he's not... The stuff he throws, you look at it and you don't go, oh yeah, it makes sense why nobody can ever touch this guy. It makes sense why this guy has allowed 39 hits in 53.2 innings and has only allowed 11 runs and is genuinely in the conversation for best reliever in baseball. No, he's obviously very good, but we're selling high on this guy. We are. We just are. If you take a look at what he did in 2021, where he was still very solid but not elite, that's probably closer to the true Erik Swanson that you're going to see going forward. Just is. And you look at our bullpen, obviously Munoz has established himself as our most trusted bullpen arm, the guy who we really believe has the stuff to just shut down opposing teams' best batters. And you've got other options as well. Guys like Murphy have played fairly well for the most part. You've gotten good bullpen innings out of guys like Sewell, even though things kind of got ugly at the end there. And you've got the opportunity to go out there and get some guys, go out there and acquire some more bullpen arms. So this team has earned my trust 100% in that realm. They know how to find good bullpen arms. So I'm totally happy with that. I'm totally willing to go with that. All right, so that's the trade, basically. Like I said, Adam Macko, I don't know a ton about him. I know he was walking players left and right last year in single A, so I'm not really going to be concerned about that. All I know is that we just added an elite bat, 2-time Silver Slugger in the last 3 years, made the All-Star game 2 years ago, and all we gave up was a really good reliever. But by the end of the year, he wasn't even our best reliever. Honestly, by the end of the year, it seemed like the team lost a little bit of trust in him. That's the only way I can put it, right? I mean, you're putting Robbie Ray out there as a relief pitcher instead of Swanson. So I don't know what else to say about it other than maybe we just felt like the regression was coming. All right, I'll see you guys later. Go Mariners. Big trade. Love it. Very excited to see how this one goes. Peace out.